And we continue this afternoon on Central Valley Talk. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Mike Scott, joined now by Liz Zemke. We're going to talk about amputees. And Liz knows what she's talking about because you told me you lost your leg 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
And you've now used that. You help other people facing amputation to deal with it.
Correct.
Yeah, you're a counselor.
Essentially, I'm a registered nurse and have been for 45 years. And when I became an amputee 20 years ago, there were no services essentially in town. There wasn't a venue to connect you with other amputees. And it's a scary proposition if somebody's telling you, Jim, I'm sorry, we're going to have to take your leg off today.
I want to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not good enough to say, oh, did you see the gal on Dancing with the Stars? See that guy who climbed Everest? See the basketball players? Because you don't mesh with them. You don't see them as real. And they're not you, and you don't know how you're going to go through. So what we do as peer visitors is a doctor may call and say, I have a patient who's facing amputation next week. Or the hospital will call, where we have a program at San Joaquin Valley Rehab, or at all the hospitals will call and say, X person was just amputated yesterday, and they're not doing well. They'd like somebody to talk to. I can go in, knock on the door, say, hi, I'm Liz. I'm a nurse, and I don't have a right leg. And they're all ears.
You want to hear how you cope with it.
It's all of a sudden, it's like, I just saw her walk through the door. She walked through perfectly fine. How is it that she doesn't have a right leg?
If you didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known.
Right.
Yeah.
And if she can do it, they start getting the idea that, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So it sometimes turns from desperate depression to a smile. And they're, like I said, they're all ears. They want to hear. So we'll talk, and I'll walk them through the process of right from amputation, this is what's going to happen. In 3 days, you'll go to an acute rehab. In 5 or 6 weeks, you'll get a leg, and we'll talk through the whole process. This is what you're going to be able to do. Maybe what are your fears that you're not going to be able to do something? How's your family doing?
Is there anything you can't do?
No, not really. Not anything.
Can you run a marathon?
I could, I guess, if I could have run a marathon when I was 45.
Can you play the piano? I couldn't before.
Yeah, right, exactly. It hasn't really stopped me from doing anything that I did prior.
And that's what you want the folks that you talk with to know. That,
exactly.
Yeah, you're going to be missing an arm or leg, but life goes on, yeah.
Right, a little bump in the road, and you learn how to adapt. And it's probably less trouble than these are.
I had cataract surgery,
so
and I got rid of mine.
With these,
I got rid of mine.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think. 20 years ago, the difference when this happened to you and now, just the difference in prosthetics.
True.
It used to be like a wooden leg. Now
That's
there's the
true.
Blade Runner and all these different incredible...
And basically, in a leg amputee, all we have to do is get back down to the ground. And sure, if we just had pegs, we could get around with a peg, as they did in, 15th century. But they have gotten so much better. They have improved. That hasn't necessarily improved the outcomes because you still have to get there. You still have to want to use this leg and work with it like any tool. If I handed you a chainsaw right now, and you've never looked at a chainsaw before, are you going to go out and just know how to run it and go out and zap those trees down? No, you're going to have to, read the manual, play with it a few times, do a little project, and then you'll get better at it. And we're the same way. We have to put it on, be accepting of it, walk with it, trust it, learn how to do things with it.
Do you ever forget that it's on?
I did early.
Really?
I did early on, and then you fall. Yeah, but Now it's just, it's
Part of your life.
Yeah, I mean, you'd go anywhere without the leg, so it's first thing on in the morning, last thing off at night.
Now, do you do this on a volunteer basis?
I do.
So there's no charge to the patient?
There's no charge to the patient, and we have several peer visitors who are certified to the Amputee Coalition of America, and we have a set program at, like I said, at San Joaquin Valley Rehab, but all of the hospitals and a lot of the doctors facilitate our use, and what I'll do is, if I have a male, Hispanic, Spanish-speaking, young, who's lost a left arm, I'm probably not the person to see this amputee through the process. But I'll make the initial visit and then, decide all of his needs and things and talk with him and then hook him up with an appropriate male, Hispanic, who's also lost an arm, and hopefully from trauma if he lost it to trauma, diabetes if he lost it to diabetes.
So you have a whole list of people you can call on.
I do. And then we keep those, with permission, we keep the amputees on a database, contact them. We have support groups, gait clinics with Fresno State. The doctorate level PT students have been getting really involved lately, and we're doing gait clinics, some classes, teaching we're acting as the models for the classes, for the physical therapy students. Work with the psychology of disabilities class. So we're trying to integrate amputees into all these programs so that they're going to be our professionals working with us later, or for the next generation. Yeah. Oh, and we're over at Children's Hospital, too, for their prosthetic clinic. So we're seeing kids from 3 months, 3 weeks, to, 99 or so.
Are there children who can counsel also?
Yes.
What's the youngest you have?
Well, we grab the teens usually because they've been there.
Right.
So if we have an older teen or a young adult who became an amputee, say in the 7th grade, then that's a perfect counselor, or peer visitor for that young kid who's now coming up and is the new amputee. Yeah, it's great.
I give you a lot of credit because you took a negative experience and have turned it into something incredibly positive, and you're obviously helping a lot of people.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah. So how do folks reach you if they want to find out more about this?
They can call me at the 432-6035, or they can email me, and I think that's been posted. And anybody can make the referral. It can be a family member. It can be the person themselves that's facing amputation. That's it.
I'm guessing
it's really simple.
You probably work for months, maybe even years with some of these people?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had.
It's not an overnight thing.
No.
Where they come
and
to
then
accept.
I get phone calls 17, 15 years later saying, hey, I just wanted to thank you, and you were there, 15 years ago, and I am back at work, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. Oh, by the way, I've got a little problem with my leg. Who would you recommend, So that's awesome. One hat that I wear. And then the other hat, really quick, do I have to do this quick, is I consult with an attorney, an elder law attorney who's VA certified, and I do the medical paperwork that's necessary for the VA pension for aid and attendance. And that's for those veterans that are 65 and older who served during World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, in some cases, who now need assistance with their activities of daily living.
You are a busy lady.
And they can get a pension. Yeah.
Wow. Liz, thank you so much.
Thank you for
nice
having
meeting
me.
You. Liz Zemke, here
Thank
on
you.
Central Valley Talk.